So, here's what's going on. I made a video last semester, and for those of you who had seen it, you'll know that I mentioned I plan on doing a lot of these, but then the new semester started, and I didn't have time to do anything. If you had watched the previous video, you'll know that I've had a lot of plans in the works in terms of not only having my own personal channel, but also starting other channels with specific shows on them. All of that's on the back burner right now because I've had quite the busy semester. So the reason for that is this semester I took 8 courses. I'm just finishing up now. We're actually going into finals next week. The courses I took this semester were Astrophysics 1, Gen Chem 1, German 2, Western Civ 1, and my maths course, an algebra course. So in addition to those are my 5 courses I'm taking for credit. In addition to those, I'm taking 3 other courses. Not for credit, just because I want to. I'm taking the chamber ensemble course where I'm performing, playing the bassoon. In addition to that, the music department head was kind enough to allow me to come and sit in on the strings class and play the viola. I'm playing for a group outside of school where I'm actually the only violist, so I wanted more of an opportunity to play more regularly outside of that group. I had emailed the department head at the beginning of the semester asking her if there were any string ensemble opportunities within the college that I wasn't aware of, and she said that there are not, but you're welcome to come to the strings class more towards the latter half of the semester when people have had time to learn their instrument, become more proficient and be playing real music rather than just the basics of figuring out the mechanics of the instrument itself. So I started doing that after midterm. And then the last class that I'm taking is a critical thinking course, which my German professor teaches. And so she had told me that I could come and sit in on that because I thought that would just be beneficial overall for my academic growth down the road. And it was something that I really wanted to get involved with, and she was kind enough to allow me to do that. So 8 courses. In addition to that, 2 of those courses I did honors projects for this semester. One was my Western Civ course, where I did a project that I was entirely confident would not be approved. In order to do an honors project and graduate from the honors program, your honors projects have to be approved by your professor, their department head, and by the honors committee. My idea for a project was to rewatch all 10 seasons of Stargate SG-1, note any mythological or historical references therein, as well as I threw in some scientific references there as well, because part of the overall goal of these honors projects is to have an interdisciplinary aspect to them. So ultimately, it was approved. I didn't think it would be approved because I was kind of expecting anyone who read my project proposal to look at that and sort of blow it off as, oh, this guy just wants to watch TV and get an honors credit. Fortunately, the person from the honors committee who I had spoken to about this during the honors orientation at the beginning of the semester, I explained my project to her, and before I even finished explaining it, she was very excited and told me that she was looking forward to seeing the finished product. I then brought it to my history professor, equally excited about it, wanted me to go forward with it, and then I didn't have a chance to speak to his department head. I simply dropped the paperwork off to her, and I was fortunate that she approved it, and I was able to move forward. Actually, at that point, I had already begun the project because I knew that this was going to be incredibly time-consuming. Just watching 214 hours of television alone for the preliminary research, never mind the research that I would have to do after the fact, was going to take a while. Ultimately, let me see, I actually have the finished product right here. So it ended up being quite long. I had expected to have maybe 20 to 30 topics for which I would research. Ultimately, the final number was somewhere in the low 80s. And typically, these honors projects are generally in the ballpark of 10 pages. This book capped off at 61 pages with 2 tables of contents, because one isn't enough, apparently. I put in 2 different ways that one could look up information. So ultimately, that's how it looks. And let's see, and then I did another index based on by episode. So if one were to be watching the series, you could look up each episode, what you'd be able to find in the book, and then from that point onward, I have the information given in Stargate, and then the information that I researched. And surprisingly, a lot of their information was accurate. And in many cases, I just said, okay, Stargate was accurate, here's the rest of the story. Or in situations where Stargate made this up, here's the real story. And even with certain characters in there that had no historical reference, I was able to at least make in most cases, make connections between, okay, this person doesn't exist in history, but this is likely where they got their inspiration from this mythological figure, or whatever the case may be. So that was the history honors project. I also did a project for my German class, in which I compared 2 composers of the German world, one German, one Austrian. It was Johann Strauss and Richard Strauss. Just a bit of a comparison around their lifestyle, their upbringing, their musical styles, why they vary to the degree that they do, and I had a lot of trouble with that one because ultimately I completed the history project first, and I was starting to get very frustrated because whereas this history project was so long, the German project was within the general required length, but ultimately I had some concerns that it would look like I just threw it together the night before, even though there was some extensive research involved, and that was apparent when one would compare the two. There was a vast difference, and finally I kind of had to accept the fact that, okay, I can't treat these 2 projects the same. They're not, just their very nature makes them vastly different. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I had a lot to say about my Stargate project. I had so much information and so much to go on, and I just had to come to terms with the fact that I didn't have as much to say for my German project. Ultimately, they both went very well. I got a lot of great feedback from them, and it ended up being very well worth it in the end, and I'm happy to have done both of them. Aside from that, let's see, what else is there? Like I said, it's been a busy semester. Pretty much if I've been awake, I've been doing schoolwork, which is why there's been no videos. In fact, right now, I've been working on some work for my new job, which I'll get into in a minute. And I was also finishing up the last of my maths homework and some chemistry homework, and I needed a break, and I thought, what better time to make a new video update than now. So the new job, towards the end of the semester, the student government got a new president. His name's Chuck, and when I found out that he was running, I immediately reached out to him because I wanted to help him win the election. Initially thinking that I would help him and then disappear. I spent this entire semester genuinely avoiding getting involved. I was too busy, and ultimately I spent the semester as the president and sole member of the No New Friends Club. Just wanted to be left alone. Didn't want any distractions, anything to pull my focus. So what ended up happening was Chuck, while he was selecting his cabinet members, had approached me to potentially take the director of administration position within his cabinet. And over the course of a couple of weeks, rather aggressively pursued me to take this position that I couldn't have been less interested in. He even went so far as to get the current director of administration to call me into her office one day and try and wear me down. Ultimately, it worked because I did end up taking the position that the current director of administration is actually sticking around for Chuck's cabinet. She's moving into the director of finance position, so I'll have her to pick her brain a little bit as I'm figuring out exactly what my position entails. I have a good general sense as to what I'll be doing, but ultimately I'm still learning, and I'm sure that I don't really understand the full scope of what I'm getting myself involved with. The upside of her being there is that when we're in our office, I'll literally be able to. Danielle, I need help. Which is a luxury that I have that actually no one else does, because Danielle is the only one who is remaining from the previous administration. In the meantime, I am in our temporary office. The student government office is still being used by the current administration. They will remain as such until I believe May 20th is when we take over and start to get acclimated. In the meantime, we're getting acclimated to those eventual positions that we'll be holding. For the time being, we have set up shop in a nearby conference room, which was actually a lot of fun. It was kind of a last minute, okay, we're going to commandeer this conference room. It was discussed with the Dean of Student Life that this is what we're going to do. There was one table here, and I decided that since I'm the administration director, there's a lot of office work, I was going to turn this into a functioning office. So I went around, I asked the appropriate people, I got some extra tables. I found out there's surprisingly a lot more space in this room than we would have anticipated there being. I was able to set up a fairly decent office. We all have our own workspaces, and that's what it is. I'm finally able to have a place to leave my books. I'm tired of carrying around this small tent of a backpack that I've been using for the past 2 semesters. So just being able to leave a few things at my desk is a wonderful advantage. So, like I said, I'm taking the director of administration position. What that entails is there's a lot dealing with the school clubs and organizations that are on campus. Anything pertaining to, like, starting new clubs. We have a few inactive clubs that we would like to reactivate, pending there being an interest in doing so. There are actually 3 right now that we are working on either reactivating or creating, and that's something I've really taken the reins with. And I'm looking forward to moving forward with that and making these things happen, because as it turns out, there's already an interest in doing this among the student body. We have a bit of a goal set. Chuck had mentioned that throughout the entire student body, only approximately 2% actually get involved with school events and organizations, special interest groups and whatnot. We're hoping to, by the end of our term, increase that to a lofty but realistic goal of 20%. We want people more involved. As I'm finding just in the few weeks since I've taken this position, I'll talk to people about it, and most people don't even know where the student government office is, where the clubs are based, and we're going to be making a lot of efforts to really make that more mainstream and generally known. Let's see. Aside from that, Millie, if you watched the last video, Millie and I still talk regularly. Actually, we spent last weekend together because she's in the honors program as well. She was also doing 2 honors projects this semester, and we spent an entire day together just getting our display boards put together for the honors forum, where it's an optional thing. If you're doing an honors project, you can attend the forum and show everyone your stuff, and invite friends and family, and the president of the college was there and whatnot. And it went off really nice. It was especially gratifying where I'd have my little trifold board set up. I had the 2 projects next to each other, and I'd have my research paper for my Strauss project in front of my Strauss board. I'd have my Stargate book in front of my Stargate board, and it was kind of an open thing. You walk around a bit, you talk to people come up to your table, and you get to explain your project to them, and they would ask you questions. And I did notice that every time I walked away, whether it be to look at other projects in the room or very often to get food because there was food and I eat a lot of food, every time I walked away, I would come back and my book would be open. So I was a lot more popular than I anticipated being. Plus, it also didn't hurt that for this honors forum specifically, I bought myself a Stargate jacket and showed up in uniform. So, which was daunting at first because I got there and this is my first honors forum that I have participated in. So I had no idea really what to expect, and I get there and everyone else is in their best clothes, nice shirt, tie, whatnot, and I come in with this sort of casual jacket with like the army pants and whatnot, feeling very out of place. But once the sort of the opening speeches and opening ceremonies type thing was over with, and we all went to where our projects were displayed and were able to interact with the people who had attended, it became very clear as to what I was doing, and I felt a lot more comfortable in that. Okay, they understand. I'm working with a theme here. And so I didn't feel quite so out of place once things took off. But in the moment when I first got into that room and saw myself being very underdressed for the occasion, it threw me a little bit, and I kind of wanted to leave. But yeah, ultimately it was a great response to what I did, and the fact that my projects were specifically my Stargate project was so much. Actually, I guess there is a New England Honors Conference next spring that I've been invited to bring my project and to show it off again because of the extensive amount of work that had gone into it, and I'm very excited to do that. Nice, because it's always nice when you put a lot of work into something and it pays off. So that's pretty much everything that's been going on. Primarily those honors projects that have been taking up most of my time. As I said, Millie will be back. We were hoping the day that we worked on our projects together, we were hoping to film a video that day. We worked very late into the night and we're not able to, but she'll still be around. She and I are still very close. Aside from that, I'm just enjoying my new job. And looking forward to the coming semesters. Just a look ahead. Right now I have a German and an astrophysics final this coming Monday. Tuesday I have my history final. And then on Wednesday morning I have my chemistry final. My maths course, they call it a lab, which is basically it's a self-guided course, and mostly through the computer. You only show up to the maths lab to take an exam, and I'll be taking the last one of those on Wednesday night. Going forward, I'm taking 4 courses over the summer, split up. The summer semester is split into 2 sessions, first half and second half of the summer. The first half of the summer, I'll be taking Astrophysics 2, as well as Trigonometry. And then the second half of the summer, I'm retaking my chemistry course. I'm looking at finishing the course with a B to a B+. Which is fine, but it's something that I'm not happy with. I've had straight A's thus far. I want to keep that, and I feel that retaking this course and having another shot at getting that A is really what's in my best interest overall. Not something that I need to do, but definitely something that I want to do very strongly. I'm also in the second half of the summer. I'm hoping to take a pre-calculus course. Somehow it's a bit difficult. It's not really being offered during that summer session, but I've reached out to the mathematics department head, who is known for ultimately wanting people to succeed and willing to work with you and help you to figure out how you can achieve your goals, because ultimately the reason I'm taking these 2 maths courses over the summer is because I want my next fall and spring semesters to include Calculus 1 and Calculus 2. I feel that that's vital in my overall success once I leave this school and transfer to a 4-year college, wherever that may be, which is very much up in the air. I have a few colleges on my radar, but I haven't really looked into any of them yet. So that remains to be seen in terms of those decisions. Beyond that, my fall semester is more or less planned. I'm taking a Physics 1 course. I'm also going to be taking German 3, as well as an Intro to Literature course where I plan to do another honors project. Oh, I'm also doing an honors project for the Astrophysics 2 course over the summer. So with the Intro to Literature honors project, that will finish my 4 honors project requirement, and I'll be able to graduate with honors. And even better, I won't have to do one my last semester next spring. Aside from that, let's see. There's the physics one, German 3, Intro to Literature. I'll be taking Chemistry 2. I've already passed the course, but like I said, I do want to get the better grade over the summer for Chemistry 1. So regardless, I'll be going on to Chemistry 2 in the fall, and provided everything works out with my maths courses, I'll be taking Calculus. So I guess that's what we're looking at. That's why I haven't been around. That's everything that's going on. I hope to take advantage of the extra time that I'll likely have over the summer with only taking 2 courses at a time to put out more videos and bring in more people and talk about more things that are going on both within the college and outside of the college, and to ultimately grow this channel a bit. I was very surprised after I posted the last video that I gained a couple of subscribers, which was not something that I had anticipated. I just thought that this would just be a quiet thing for myself for the time being until I launched those other channels that I spoke of in the previous video. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I'll take it and run with it and see where this goes, and I'm excited to see exactly where that is. Bye, guys.